Before I get into this video on the first week of Johnny Candito's 6-week powerlifting program, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the direction that I want to take my channel. So I'm mostly going to post training logs and training videos based around my powerlifting and gymnastics training, but I also have a few ideas for videos I would like to make giving information on programming for weighted calisthenics and programming for powerlifting and gymnastic strength work in general. So if you have any suggestions that you would like me to do a video on shedding some light on these topics, feel free to leave it in the comments below and I'll try to get around to it at some point. Thanks and enjoy the video. So here's the first day of the program. It was a lower body session primarily focused on squats and deadlifts, which I respectively do low bar and conventional. My weaknesses are primarily in quads and on the anterior side of my legs, so I tailored my accessories around this. I did lunges for 3 or 4 sets after these 2 main sets, as well as GHR just to keep a balance. Squats and deadlifts went well. My squats feel as strong as they ever have been because I'm just now getting into low bar. And I'm, as I said, much more posterior chain dominant, so I was able to produce a lot of force in the position. Deadlifts were okay. They were pretty exhausting after having done a lot of volume on heavy squats. So they weren't the best they'd ever been. I was RDLing a bit on some of the later reps. So here is the upper body day session, the first one in the program. It started with bench up to a top set of 6. I've done mostly powerlifting and gymnastics in the past, so bench is still somewhat of a foreign movement to me. I've never really worked on it heavily, but it is starting to feel somewhat familiar. For my primary horizontal pulling accessory, I did front lever rows, which is a great pulling accessory movement for gymnastics, and worked up to a top set of 6. Then I'm doing OHP for my vertical pressing accessory and worked up to a top set of 8 at 125 on this day. I haven't done OHP in a long time, but I'm happy with how it went considering that. I worked up to a first set of 12 weighted chin-ups with 45 pounds, but that was overshot because I'm not used to the volume this program has for upper body on this day, and I'm not used to doing chin-ups last. So I decreased the weight even though the reps went down, and that was probably the best decision. The second upper body session of the program this week was pretty much the same workout as it was on Tuesday, which was the first session, except I was able to get a better idea of how to treat the accessory movements on that day. So OHP, I went up to the same weight and had the same earlier sets as well, but when I got to weighted chin-ups, I knew how my body would react to the weight and rep scheme after having done a lot of volume. So I started at 25 for 2 sets of 12 added pounds instead of starting at a heavier weight, and then I worked my way up to 50 pounds for an added set of 8. Which was a much better decision than going down in weight and reps. So here's the last lower body session of this week. It was mostly high volume squats and deads, 4 sets of 8 for squats and 2 sets of 8 for deadlifts. Squats felt great. It was pretty exhausting, as was the first session. But deadlifts, it was an interesting day for them. I'm still trying to figure out how to get my conventional form as close to perfect as possible. So I asked a friend in this powerlifting gym to critique my form. And here you're seeing a heavily sped up version of the video. But he gave me a cue where I could put my shins, as soon as they touch the bar, to wind down to that and then stand up immediately as soon as my shins touch the bar. That probably doesn't make a lot of sense. I just kind of stumbled it out in words, but it helped a lot that day, and my deadlift form is feeling better later into the program. I'm recording this now in week 2. So here's the last session of week 1. It was an upper body session starting off with an AMRAP on bench press up to 210 pounds. I got 8.5, and I was happy with that because it was a PR, especially considering that I hit the rack pretty hard on my second rep. Followed it up with the same accessories of OHP and weighted pull-ups, and I hit a new weight for 8 reps on the last set of OHP, and the same followed for pull-ups where I hit 52.5 pounds for 8 reps. It was a little rough on the last rep, and I cheated a little bit with hip momentum, but overall I was happy with it, especially considering the bar that I was doing the chin-ups on was pretty thin and pretty slippery, so my grip was getting really tired. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions about the training or how you would like me to structure these videos, feel free to comment below. Thanks, y'all. Have a good one.